All right, so picture we're back in 2019, okay? The bike industry is doing pretty good. Everything's grand. You know, your favorite bikes are in stock, stuff like that. Companies are fat. Influencers are getting paid. You know, all these bike companies have like ambassadors and stuff like that that they hire and they bring on to their programs to, you know, be spokesperson for their brands, for their particular brand of bike. And things are good, right? Influencers are making money. They're out there making content. Whether you agree with how the platform is set up or you like their content or not, they were out there doing the work. And as you know, a mountain bike video creator myself, I know how much time it takes. So back then, you know, like everything was going good. You know, bike industry was doing great. Companies were doing great, and they had influencers, athletes, race teams, all the stuff going out there for outreach and to kind of toe the party line for their brand. And then, you know, we all know what happened, right? COVID hit. 2020, crap hit the fan. Nobody could go out. It's all, you know, behind us in the rear view, but what happened to the industry at that point was, wow, there's nothing to do. We can't go to the movies, we can't do this, we can't do that. So we just saw this influx of people into the sport, right? Into mountain biking as a sport, or in biking in general, whether it be road bike or hybrid bikes, or really any particular bike, whether you were a bike brand or you were a bike shop, any bike was in demand, high demand. To the point where, you know, you couldn't even find a bike if you wanted to buy one. And if you did, you had to go get it, or you had to basically, no, not or, but and you would basically have to pay full retail. Maybe even a little bit more to get the bike that you wanted. And then used bikes, holy cow. Like it was crazy. Like you could have a year-old used bike and, you know, just post it online and it would sell like that. And you would probably get close to not even like, you'd get asking price or more.
$1 million.
Well, $1 million isn't exactly a lot of money these days.
And you could charge, you know, you wouldn't even have a big markdown on a used bike. It would be close to what the retail price was, what you paid for it, because they raised prices because of everything and on the demand and stuff like that. So that's where we were, right? And let's fast forward a few years, right? And this is the thing that really boggles my mind. You know, this is the thing that is really crazy in my mind.
Anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
That in the bike industry, you had all these companies and all these marketing executives and directors, or, you know, whatever their position was in these bike companies. And they're like, wow, we've never seen this demand. We need to ramp up production. And then they just, you know, like in my mind, like, we've never seen this much demand. Okay. But somehow somebody didn't say, you know, whether it be in the finance department or whatever of these companies, whoa, you know, this is, you know, kind of like a one-time deal, you know, like once we get back to normal or the new normal, whatever they wanted to call it, right? That this was just going to keep going. Like it was just going to keep going, and like we need to ramp up production because demand is so high, so we just ramp everything up and then, you know, hit the brakes. And then the bikes weren't in demand anymore at all.
I hate this friggin' bike! This stupid bike!
Like people that got into these sports because they needed something to do during that time period, all of a sudden were like, yeah, you know, I got a bike now, and I don't need to buy anymore. And then the used market was flooded because a lot of people that bought bikes were like, yeah, you know, I'm not really just that into it. It was just something that I needed to do during that time period for something to do. And now they're back to their old hobbies and not really into it. I don't know how many people were like that, but you can kind of see it happening, right? And all these companies now had like this massive inventory. Oh, and like massive, like with inventory, you know, somebody that comes from like lean manufacturing a little bit, you only want to produce what you can sell, you know, and lean manufacturing is basically like you make it to order. And the bike industry has never really worked that way. but they've made way too much without any orders. And now they're stuck with this massive inventory. And fast forward to now, you're starting to see brand new bikes that just came on the market like last fall, 55, 60% off from big bike brands. And you're like, ooh, this is not good. Like, yeah, short term, you see it in our eyes, like, oh, this is great, you know? And now you're starting to see in this time that we're in right now, those companies that didn't have that foresight to be like, oh, we need to dial it back, we need to conserve because this isn't going to be long term. Now you're starting to see these companies, some have gone out of business, some have closed, some are restructuring. Some brands have gone away entirely. And how does that affect like people like me, video creators? You may have seen on YouTube like all these videos, like kind of like the one, this one's titled, you know, I'm quitting. Or they dropped me. This bike brand's no more. What's next? Or, you know, like Remy, he lost like 2 out of 27 sponsors. Like, what's he gonna do, right? So now that I've kind of gone over, and we've kind of gone over like where the industry was, what we did, what it went through, and where we are in our current state in the industry, I want to get into this video like what I'm quitting, my new bike build, and my 2025 sponsors. So let's get into it. What am I quitting? Well, over the years, you know, I've hustled and bustled and honestly, like how people consume mountain bike content has changed as well. You know, to like, you know, regular riding videos don't really do that well anymore. You know, like some of my best watched videos are stuff like this, where we just sit down and we talk about, you know, mountain biking in the industry and what's going on and what's going on in my life and this stuff. And a lot of the times, like those regular riding videos, like they don't get the views, right? Because they're not, you know, it's like the era of podcasts, right? Everybody's got a podcast now. And like, you know, it's these videos that we kind of talk about things are sometimes a little bit more entertaining than that little like, you know, trail system that, you know, is just down the road and nobody really cares about or nobody knows about. And that's why I kind of try and keep this channel interesting and like kind of just give you guys the best of the best trails, like, and some of the best stuff that I ride in the White Mountains, and then try to do content like this as well. But, you know, fast forward to all these influencers kind of dropping out because they've either lost sponsors or, you know, their bike brand, supporting bike brand, you know, got stuck in this, you know, downturn that we're kind of in now in the bike industry. And what led me to this point where I'm basically like saying, you know, I'm just done, you know, I'm quitting, and I'm kind of not going to be going after those things anymore. You know, if anybody knows, like, I don't think I was honestly like a great, I mean, I try to really get in with bike brands that I really love their products, and I can really like, you know, I've gone after these bike brands and these ambassadorships and, you know, these brand deals and stuff like that with companies that have just really loved their products and wanted to showcase what they've done because they've made something really awesome, right? But one thing that I've never done and done well is make a video and only do the positives on what I'm reviewing, right? That's not me. And even if a bike that I, you know, am being told or given as at a discount, you know, to ride or whatever for the channel, I've never been able to just separate myself and be like, well, this is a marketing gig, because this is basically like I'm being, you know, given this stuff to be able to like really tote the brand and toe that line and do marketing for this brand. And that's never been what I've been about, really. If you've watched some of my videos, even my current sponsors now, like they've told me, they're like, yeah, you know, we have to like, you know, just kind of flinch a little bit and, you know, oh, is the review going to be good on this bike that we carry? Because I like to give the truth, right? I don't like to sugarcoat things. Like, yeah, I mean, I'll give the good and the bad and the things that you should know that, you know, not every bike review can be, you know, climbs like a goat, descends like a downhill bike. It just can't. Like, there's certain nuances, especially with that last video, if you just watched it on the high pivots, how I said I'm just moving away from it and I'm over the hype. Like, there's certain nuances that they just don't tell you. Like the marketing hype and the review videos, they're good. They're initial reviews. You get the bike, you ride it for a little while, and then you post out a review, and you're like, you know, you always focus on the positives for the most part, most video creators, and then that's it, and that's all that's out on the internet. That's all you see. But you know, there's another aspect to these videos that you get to dive a little bit deeper and give people really the experience of like what you felt. As somebody that's been riding mountain bikes for 30 years can tell you, like, I'm used to this new bike, this new technology does this, and it's different, right? So what am I quitting? I'm quitting chasing these brand deals. I'm at the point in my life now where I don't need to be supported by a bike brand. I don't have these visions of grandeur where I'm gonna quit my job that I make good money at for my family of 5, and I'm gonna go out and make mountain bike videos for a living. You know what I mean? It's not reality, right? We gotta kind of be grounded in reality, and that's just not gonna be reality. Maybe someday, if people have commented on this channel for a really long time and been like, you know what, I don't know how you haven't blown up. Your content's awesome, and I'm like, I appreciate all those comments. Like, every comment that you guys make on the bottom of the videos, that does have a, you know, does give the impression on YouTube. It makes the video do better. So please comment away, and I appreciate those positive feedback and those comments. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be chasing those deals. I'm not going to be chasing, like, sure, I'll still work with brands, and I'll still, like, you know, take on stuff that I really enjoy, like this camera right here. Like, you know, this isn't sponsored by any way. I'm not even going to tell you the name, but this new drone, like, company sent it to me. I'm not even going to tell you the name of the company, right? But because I don't really have a deal with them right now, but they sent me this camera, and they're like, you make a video of it. We'll give you the camera, and we'll just make a video. I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't really like making videos and being subject to making these review videos or making these videos for, you know, stuff that they're going to send me product for. But if they don't send me money and they just send me product, like, I can do an actual review and be like, this thing sucks. Don't buy it. Or I can use it for my own, you know, pleasure or whatever. And I have to say, I actually really love it. You know what I mean? It's super sick. It's fun. It's like one of those simple things. But, you know, I just don't want to be one of these people that's chasing these brand deals and has to toe the party line if a new bike brand comes out with a new bike and, like, I absolutely hate it. I don't want to be one of those people that says, like, oh, this is the best, like, it's the best ever bike. I'm like, if my friends will tell you, like, I've been doing that for years. Like, every time you get a new bike, like, the best bike that you've ever had is the one you have right now. Like, the best bike ever is the one you're riding right now, right? And that's always kind of the way I've been. But I'm trying to change my view a little bit to where, like, I know what I'm looking for. And the things that I say now are like, this bike is perfect for me. And it may not be for you. You may be in a different style of riding. I ride really different terrain up in the mountains and stuff like that. And it may be totally different than what, you know, the average mountain biker rides. Like, you may want something totally different. You may just ride straight down chunk lines and you may love a high pivot. You know, there's something for everybody now. So I'm quitting chasing those deals, chasing that, you know, corporate sponsor, big bike brand deal, or riding for a specific brand. I'm going to basically, like, that's what's going to lead me into this next section of this video is my new sponsor, but my old sponsor, right? It's the Wheelhouse NH, right? They are an independent shop, but they carry certain brands that I've reviewed. And I could tell you, like, I haven't given all the bikes a great review. I just haven't. Some of the bikes that they carry, I absolutely love, and they're all good, and, you know, different strokes for different folks. But I'm going to tell you, like, what I liked, what I didn't like about this particular bike. And people take it with a grain of salt. But you know what? At the end of the day, like, some people ride the bikes that I review and they love it for the type of terrain that they ride, right? So they kind of give me the freedom to do this stuff. And, like, even, like, I went down this road of trying the high pivot bikes and buying a brand that they didn't even carry, right? Just because it was something I wanted to do, they supported me in that. And they're like, yeah, come on down. We'll figure out some way that we can make the shop be a part of the video. Like, hey, we'll work on any bike. Show the audience that we'll be like, yeah, this isn't even a bike we carry, but we're gonna do a dream build video on it, and like we're gonna have it part of a review that you do, and like, so they're just really supportive in that matter, and they're out here doing something that nobody else is doing. They're a bike shop. I can't say nobody else is doing. There are other bike shops in the area that are doing stuff like this, but they're out here building expert level, like downhill tech, enduro-ish style trails that are right out their back door now. You know what I mean? If you look that way, and I turn the camera around, which I will after, like, they're at the bottom of a ski hill. They worked their butts off to get this awesome venue behind me. This is their new shop at Arrowhead in Claremont, New Hampshire. And they've got an awesome bike shop. They carry awesome brands, Transition, they carry Trek, they carry Revel, they carry the new one, Forbidden, and they will work on any bike that you bring them. I've even, they probably don't want me to tell you this, but they even brought in a Sur-Ron the other week, and they worked on that. Just like, not anything big, but the guy needed a brake bleed. So they did a brake bleed on the one brake that they could, and like, just, all these little things that people bring them in, they're pivotal to the community. They got a rail trail right out front. They've got the ski hill, they got the enduro trails, and this town has, fortunately embraced mountain bike and racing here with the ESC and everything else. And that's why, like, I want to be aligned with them as my sponsor. And because they do it different, right? They do it like kind of like what I've been doing with my YouTube. I've been doing it different, right? I ride in the White Mountains. I've been showcasing that stuff to you guys for years of like, this is the kind of stuff that we can have and we can ride. And they just do it different here. And that's what this relationship and the sponsorship is all about. And it's awesome. So what's my new bike? The final part of this video, new bike build. I didn't do a dream bike build, but let's go to that right now and I'll show you. And we'll get you a glimpse of what my new bike is. As many of you know, like, I had my knee surgery this winter, so I haven't even really ridden my new bike yet. And many of you saw that I was on a Transition Spire. I kind of went from the Deviate Claymore to a Transition Spire now, and I absolutely love the bike. It's perfect for me. It's simple. It's something that, the Trek Slash, what I wanted the Trek Slash Gen 6 to be was this Transition Spire. Where the Spire has been out for a few years now. I got a review video coming out about it too, but it's just everything I wanted the Slash Gen 6 to be, because I love the Gen 5. It was just like a little bit tweak here and there that I wanted done to that bike, and then, it didn't jive with me, the Gen 6 Slash, but the Spire is exactly what I wanted. So my new bike is the Transition Sentinel V3. Now, why I went with the V3 and why I went with the Sentinel? Why do I have close bikes? Like one's 150, 160 mil travel, and the other one is 170, 170 in the Spire. Because I did some research and I was like, you know what? I don't really ride like flat XC terrain anymore. I used to race a lot of cross country back in the day. I had a Yeti ASRC, 23 pounds, full Lycra kit. I won a couple, championships out here in the East Coast for like the sport division, and then got into expert and elite men, and like, still had top 10 finishes at every race. But I don't know. It's not for me. I did it. I tried it. I don't like it. I love enduro. I love mountain riding. I love getting up on the mountains and working for stuff and just enjoying, creation, enjoying this awesome part of our world and our country and here in New Hampshire. But I went with it because I was like, oh, maybe I should get like a smaller travel bike, 120, 130. But then I was like, well, the way I have it built, it's going to be the same weight. It's going to, the lower travel bike's going to pedal probably a little bit better. Like the Smuggler or something like that is going to pedal a little bit better. But then I'm thinking like, well, but then it's just not going to be as capable. It's going to be the same weight pretty much, like 30-ish, 31, 32-ish pounds. But then like if I really want to, like, yeah, I could ride like a smuggler at Highland and some of these mountain lions, but I have to pick my way down. And so the Sentinel just made sense. It's like, yeah, it's probably going to pedal a little bit worse, but it's also just going to be that much more capable and more fun. And it's going to be a bike that the transitions, I'm telling you, like it blew me away the first time I rode them. Like that giddy up suspension, it's not marketing hype. It's real. Like you go out on the trail, you pedal it around and you're like, I've owned Yetis and I rode with, I was on Grassroots Yeti for a long time, racing for them. And they pedal almost better than a Yeti. It's crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. And that's what really kind of made me fall in love with it. Like, yeah, okay, who cares how good of an enduro bike climbs? I do, because I climb up to come down. I don't ride chairlifts a lot. It's just not really my thing. I do with my kids because they really enjoy it, but I don't ride it a lot. I always work my way up the mountain. So it's important to me. So long story short, yeah, it's the Sentinel V3. I can't wait to ride it. I'm not able to get out there and ride yet because I've got only like 4 months away from ACL and meniscus repair surgery. But I'm hoping in the next month I'll be able to get back out in the woods, and that's kind of a good motivation. This bike is good motivation for me to get out there and get back out on the trail. And who doesn't love having a new bike for extra motivation, right? So as always, that's what I wanted to go over in this video. Like I'm done chasing after this stuff and chasing after this dream that I'm going to quit my job and do this mountain bike full time and influencing and making videos and stuff like that. And, because it's just a constant hustle. You're constantly hustling. Like, yeah, any job you're going to have to work at, but this is just a constant hustle. And some videos hit, some videos don't. You never know. And the more clickbaity it is, the more views it gets, but then it just falls off and then nobody else watches the video ever again. And it's such like a disposable market. Like it's just consume it, like make it, consume it, put it in the friggin' closet, never use it again. Like that's what these videos are almost, it seems like. Except review videos and stuff like that, where you see a lot of influencers, like they just make review videos because that's what pays the bills and that's what gets the views long term. You know what I mean? People are always going to be searching for Trek Fuel EX like review or something like that. They're always going to be there, So I'm just quitting chasing these things, and I'm just, I want to support a shop that supports what I want to do and what I do and appreciates like. Any brand I've ever worked with has never like appreciated, to a point they have, right? But they've never like really appreciated what I've done in the industry, which isn't really much other than bringing light to trying to shape mountain biking in New England and how we ride and how we view our mountains and this type of terrain and showcase our terrain, what we have. Like we could have world-class riding here, world-class. Like we already do, but it's not even marked as a mountain bike trail. We could have some of the best mountain biking in the world in New England, in New Hampshire. And like you look at what Quebec's doing, like they are a destination now. Like it is some of the best riding I've ever done. Like 5 hours north over the border in Canada. It's amazing what they're doing. And if I can have even just the tiniest little part in, getting that style of riding here, I'll be so stoked on it, just to have a small part in that. So yeah, that's what this channel is about. That's what this channel is always going to be about. And I'm just really glad that I've got a sponsor that allows me to do that. And just like in all reality, be myself. And who doesn't want that relationship with a sponsor that they just allow you to be you and they appreciate it. And they appreciate you for it, right? So, as always, hit that like, hit the subscribe button. And if you like this content and you appreciate what I do and you appreciate the other content I make and stuff like that, consider joining the Patreon down below. All the support I get is greatly appreciated, and it pays the bills to drive up here, make these videos, camera equipment, all that stuff. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.